Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back. My name is Monique and welcome to Medora Budgets. I'd like to thank anybody who's liked or commented on any of my videos, and especially those that have chosen to subscribe to my channel. Truly started this as a way to hold myself accountable, but I understand, recognize, and appreciate the community as a whole. So if you are rocking with me on this journey, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't made up your mind yet, sit with me for a spell. At the end of this video, if it's content you find valuable or enjoyable, please feel free to subscribe. It's myself and Sweets, married with a whole bunch of kids, trying to figure out our future family and finances so the decisions we're making now won't negatively impact us in the future. So today is December the 4th, and we are here to do a budget versus actual, which we'll talk about in a moment, as well as some changes that I'm making going into 2025. But there is something that I do want to talk through with you guys as well. So one of the things that I've talked or mentioned before now is the fact that I've gotten a couple of different birthday gifts, right, from the men in my life. So first, Beanie Baby was born on my birthday. Bestest gift ever. Secondly, my son got me a mug and this actual candle as well. And the mug says, "Fueled by Jesus and coffee." Best mug ever. You guys might be thinking, okay, now your grandson got you covered. Your son got you covered. What about Sweets? What did he do for you? Well, let me tell you. So I'm very excited about it overall. So he bought me this. All right, so backstory real quick. I did have a gift card that I received from my company a couple of weeks ago, and that gift card, where do I open? Okay, that gift card was for a few $100s, and I felt like between that and the money that I was going to get from working the elections in November, that I would be able to afford an iPad 10th generation. So I called Sweets and I said to him, I said, well, I've been talking about getting an iPad, and this is just a little bit of backstory for you guys on this part too. Sweets was planning on buying me an iPad based on my recommendation for Christmas, but I told him not to do that. So when I started to see these problems as far as the city card is concerned, and having to take care of the water, and in having my credit card be at the max amount or as high as it was, I started to panic, right? So one of the changes that I decided to make overall was that maybe we don't do Christmas with each other. Maybe just spend about $50 and then save some of that money to help put it towards debt, right? Because I'm working on a debt repayment plan. So with that said, I came to Sweets and I told him, I was like, well, don't worry about getting me an iPad. I wanted an iPad Pro. I was like, don't worry about getting me an iPad Pro. Just spend about $50 on Christmas. That's all I'm going to spend. We're going to cut things off and not spend a lot for Christmas. Now, that is what my next marriage and money is going to be. And Sweets is going to join me on camera, y'all. So you get to see him. But we're going to talk through when you have one person partner in the marriage that's an extreme budgeter and the other person is not, and some of the challenges that you face. Because when I tell you, Sweets gave me the side eye with this idea that he was only going to spend $50, and I didn't ask him anything. I told him, which was definitely a problem. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But at the end of the day, I told him, don't worry about buying the iPad Pro. He said, okay. So, right. So that's what he told me. But that was for Christmas. I didn't realize he was going to do it for my birthday. So fast forward a couple of Sundays ago, I called him and I said, I just ordered an iPad 10th generation and I've got the cost covered. I've got a gift card from a company. I've got my money that's coming for elections, and I should be able to cash flow the rest. And y'all, he threw a temper tantrum. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. What are you doing? Why are you out here buying iPads? No. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Get your bass out your voice. But what is wrong with you? It turns out he did buy me an iPad Pro. Now, this is renewed, refurbished. It's an older one, the 3rd generation, 4th generation, but he went with an older one so that it would have more storage available for it and still come out in a reasonable cost amount. And so that is what he did. So this is the present that I got. It's an iPad Pro, either 3rd or 4th generation, just can't remember. And I've been using this for a couple of weeks now, and I absolutely love it. All right, sorry about that. Y'all don't know, but it's been a minute. I heard Beanie Baby crying, and then I had to go and see what was going on with my best friend. Y'all, our favorite song, the song that I sing to him when he's crying and it quiets him down, is the Golden Girls song, Thank You for Being a Friend. He loves it. So that's our song. Anyway, I am back. So what I was talking through is, this is the iPad Pro. I've been using it for a few weeks. Absolutely love it. I went in and looked at my December, and I noticed that I have an overview as far as my goals are concerned. So I kind of went and set that up. I'm going to come in so you guys can see that. So I kind of went in and set that up so that I kind of know what my goals are as far as the month is concerned. Remember, I'm using the Dash Planner 2025 calendar, but when I purchased that, they gave me the last quarter of 2024, which is what I'm using and testing it out. So that is what you see here. And I've been able to set goals as far as personal, work, and school, and Christmas. I also set goals as far as emotional and mental state, spirituality, health and fitness, social relationships, learning and education, and then hobbies as well. Now you'll notice here for hobbies, it says ASL, which you guys know I'm learning sign language, but it also says French because my daughter's boyfriend and his entire family, that's their native tongue. And so I want to make sure I'm learning that because I know that they're going to teach it to Sweets. And I mean, to Sweets. They're going to teach it to Bean. So I need to make sure that I can speak whatever language my beanie baby can talk. All right. So when it comes to finances, here's the way that everything laid out. So let's talk about it. As far as budget versus actuals, all of my money came in, inflow money came in as expected. So I'm working with 2405. Housing and utilities, mortgage, electric, home buffer, that's a sinking fund. Property insurance is sinking fund. Subs is sinking fund. Home supplies is a cash envelope. All of those were given to as expected. Verizon came in a little bit cheaper. AT&T came in a little higher. I think it was coffee and budgets, or it might have been I Desire Wealth. I'm not sure which one, but somebody mentioned that their AT&T had gone up by $5. Yeah, mine did too. When I was watching the video, I was like, yeah, girl, the same thing happened to me. But when you add all of that together, I still came in about $9 cheaper as far as my housing and utilities are concerned. As far as the transportation section, everything came in as expected. I really should have written that $380 there. All right. All right, so for food, that was done as expected as far as the amount of money that I gave for those cash envelopes. Supplements, or for my health, that came out as expected. For personal, my me money and the money for family and for pets came out as expected. For savings, I didn't give anything to emergency, but I did give to the 100 envelope challenge and Monday Mini. That came out as expected. And then Nelnet. Here, the debt, Nelnet City came out as expected, and I gave towards extra debt the way that I wanted to as well. Now, when it comes to miscellaneous, I have not paid those class dues yet. And then you'll notice here for mortgage, I have $20 listed here. What I think I've done, because I am $30 short in my bills account than what I anticipated having, I think I paid more to my mortgage than I was supposed to. So when I went online, I realized that my mortgage is only $668, which means I should be paying $670 every month. Well, I saved $250 on November the 1st. I saved $200 on November the 15th. And then I saved $220 on November the 29th. That totals $670. But when I went into actually make the mortgage payment, so move all that I'd already saved over into my bills checking account from bills savings, and went to make the mortgage payment, I made the mortgage payment for $690. So I am now $20 short here. And that's what I believe I did when I was looking at these numbers. And so I am going to double check on that. So I haven't finished off all of these numbers yet because that might have been a mistake that I made. So I'm working through that, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do if I have. It's not a big problem. I'll just document it here more than likely, and then we'll be okay, because it's not like that put me over or made me go in the negative at all. But I think I did overpay my mortgage, and then they're not going to put it in a suspended account. They're probably going to apply it towards my principal. All right. One of the reasons why I was a little discombobulated when it came to this part is because I've been doing some moving and shaking with money that did not belong to me. It would belong to my son. So my son gives me his money when he gets paid, and then I give it to him as he needs it. Usually that's only like once a month. He might need a little extra to carry him through until he gets to one of his checks, maybe twice a month at max. So I've always had his money in my high yield savings account in a bucket titled with his name. And I can handle 2 transactions and having those done during the course of the month. The Ally High Yield Savings account allows you 9 or 10 transactions overall. That's what you're limited to. So I do his 2 in the course of a month. I might do 2 or 3 for myself, and we're good, right? I'm not going over the transaction limit. Well, this past month, he's needed a lot of money at various stages to fix his car. Somebody will check it out and he needs 50. Somebody changes the tire, they need 70. They're just going on and on. And dumb me, all I did was every time he asked for a certain amount of money, that's all I sent to him. So today he came and asked me for $175. I looked, and I told him I can't give him that because I've already reached my transaction limit. I was going into my bills account and giving him some money out of there, and then waiting until he pays me back, or that I get started again in my new banking cycle, so that my transactions that I'm allotted, which I think is 10 a month, is recycled and I'm back up to 10. So it is a struggle right now, and I've seen that now for a couple of months. So I've decided that he's eating up all of my transactions that I have available for my sinking funds, and it's causing a problem for me, because then I have to use my bills account or my variable account to give him money out of, and then wait until he pays me back and then try and use it, or wait until the 9th comes and I recycle and now I have more transactions and then I have to move money again. It's just been a mess. So what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to give him my Ally checking account overall. When I say give it to him, I'm not going to add his name to the account, but I've moved all of my money out of that. It showed a 0 balance, and I told him going forward, he will Zelle his money to me to the email address that's associated with that account, and it will just live there. I'm not even going to put it in my high yield savings account. It'll just live in the Ally checking account, and then whenever he needs it, I'll just Zelle it back to him, and that might be the easiest way to go. But I did talk to him and say, hey, you need to get another account that you don't have access to and you're not going to swipe out of, so that you can manage your own money, son. You need to be head of somebody's household soon. So we'll see how that goes, but that is going to be one of the changes I'm making for 2025. He will have the Ally checking account, so you won't see any numbers reported as far as that's concerned, no balances, etc., because it'll be just for handling his money. One of the other things that I have decided to do is that I've got to look at my finances differently when it comes to how I take care of my transactions. So I'm going to go in even a little bit more so that you guys can see this. And one of the things that I realized is that I have to have documented not just a category, but a subcategory as well for everything that I spend or every transaction that I have. So I came up with this sheet. It's going to document the merchant and the date. Okay, so the date and who I paid, a category and subcategory, and then the amount, and then the payment. If it's being paid out of a bank account, which bank account is it coming out of? If it is getting paid off of a credit card, which credit card did I use? And then where I'm going to pull the money in order to pay it back. That step is needed. So I need a subcategory here to document where I'm spending that money out of, like the segment or the group or the category that I'm spending the money out of. But I also need a secondary one here for all of my credit card payments to make sure that I'm pulling the money from the right account. If I come over here and I show that I use my Chase credit card or my Ally credit card to make a payment for something or to buy something, and I don't have already a payment option to document here to say it's coming out of gifts or it's coming out of emergency or it's coming out of buffer, then I got a problem, because that means I'm spending money and I have no idea how I'm going to pay it back. Also, I needed to have a way to track cash. So my cash that I spend, I do have a small tracker within my wallet but it is not grouped together, had not been before grouped together along with all of my other expenses. And now I'm doing that different. So you will see this going forward for every single transaction that I have. Even if I'm just moving money as savings, I'm documenting, well, I'm saving it for what? If I'm saving it to use for a sinking fund, am I saving it to use for a challenge? Am I saving it to use as emergency, etc.? I'm going to have that documented here. Again, category and subcategory, so I can see definitively where my money is being spent. When it comes to personal expenses, is it personal because it's me money? It's for me? Is it personal because I had to buy something for family? Is it personal because I had to get something for a pet? Again, getting a lot more granular about how I'm tracking my expenses to see exactly where my money is going, because I need to find money where I can so that I can continue to pay off this city credit card. And I feel like there's money here that I'm just not documenting right, that I've been just spending. And so this is going to hopefully help me to take care of that. When it comes to debt, same thing. So city credit card is the overall category is debt, but this is a payment that I made. Sometimes this might say payment, or it should always say payment, but sometimes it might say charge. Maybe it's a debt for city credit card, but it's a charge that I have now. Now I need to talk through that, or it's interest that I am getting assessed. Again, it helps me to see overall how all of my money is looking. Same thing with food for groceries or food for dining. We need to understand those differences. Insurance. Is it insurance for the home, or is it insurance because it's a subscription like an Apple Care, right? Is it, if it's entertainment, is it entertainment because it's a subscription like Spotify and Fubo TV? Or is it that I spend money for entertainment like here, where we went to Regal and went to the movies? So again, I am just trying to understand completely how all of my money is being spent, because one of the things that I struggle with is ending my month. Some people are really good at that, and I'll zoom back out. I don't think we have anything else to talk through on this part, but some people are really good on this. And it always bugged me that somebody like the budget mom can come in and she can reconcile all her numbers for her banking statement and tell you exactly how much money she spent and get down to the last few pennies every month on exactly where all of her money goes. And I can never figure out how to do that. I realized a couple of things. Number one, I wasn't tracking everything. I wasn't tracking all of my cash together. I wasn't tracking specific categories the way that I should. I wasn't tracking where all of that money was getting spent from and where it was getting pulled from if I needed to pay back a credit card. So that was one of the things I realized. The second thing I realized is the reason why it worked as well as it did for her. She pays herself on the first of every month, and then she has all month to spend that money. So her banking statements, or her reconciling her numbers, went from the 1st to the 30th or the 31st, because it made sense for her on how she got paid. But for me, I am a bi-weekly paycheck budgeter, which means my months are going to run differently. How I document everything will run differently. So for example, for November, if you're looking here, go in one more time. If you're looking here, November should have run from the 1st through the 28th, because all of the money that I spent for those 2 checks fall into November. Now, although I did get paid on the 29th, there's only 2 days left in November. The majority of that November 29th check is actually covering expenses for December. So one of the other things I recognize is I have to look at my month differently. So for December, my first check is the November 29th check. That's the first check of my December monthly financial calendar. And I'm going to have that check, and I'm going to have the December 13th check. When it comes to December the 27th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's only 5 days that December 27th check is going to cover. In fact, there's only one bill, and that bill is on the 28th. Everything else is November. So this December 27th is going to be the start of my January financial calendar. And so that's another change that you will see in 2025. So Son's account is taking over the Ally checking account so that I have his money separated out and it's not getting mixed up in mine. You never saw his money in my stuff, but I saw it in all of these transactions and it messes things up. So I'm cleaning that out. Number 2, I'm going to keep track of categories and subcategories as well as where I'm paying for a transaction from and then where I'm pulling money from to pay off the credit card. That's number 2. And number 3, I'm going to allocate my monthly calendar view a little differently, and it's going to be based on when I get paid. So there's those are some changes, probably going to be a few more when it comes to 2025. We shall see. But there you go. That's what I have so far. All right. Thanks everybody for your time. You guys have a good one.